Here we are again. Good evening, boys and girls. Spike Ted Dycrack, welcome to the show. Malcolm, gonna go ahead and get started. Got 4 viewers here. This one's gonna be a 1957D roll, 1957D, and I know nothing about the contents of this roll other than the coin on top. It was nice looking, so I decided to open this roll, see where we're going to go with it. Let's find out. Coin number 1. Well, Malcolm. So Malcolm's here. Malcolm's going to get to see his coin. Hello, Mr. Boudreau. And there's Eric. Let's see what we have. Let me zoom in just a little bit more. Okay, I'm not seeing anything. Well, maybe a doubled eyelid. That could be an eyelid right there. Nothing known on 1957D reverse. So we're going to take a look at the first 10 coins, then we're going to move on from there. I'm going to save this one out as a possible doubled eyelid. I'll let Eric take a look at this one later. That's coin number 1 for you. Now coin number 2 goes to Carl. Coin number 2 for Carl. And that is, well, it's a nice clean early die state coin. That'd be nice if it were a die variety. Be really nice. Get you nice clean early die state die variety. And it does not happen to be anything on the obverse. Let's take a look at the reverse real quick. And the reverse is mid die state. So it had been hanging on the machine just a little longer than the obverse. Nothing there, though. And coin number 3, Mr. Adams. Mr. Adams gets coin number 3. Here it is. Another nice, clean, earlier die state coin. This one does have a Larry on it. A little tiny bit of a fingerprint. And no die variety on the obverse that I can see. Let's flip it over and take a look at the reverse and see if maybe a change in the world could happen to bring us a double die reverse on a 1957D Lincoln Cent, and no such luck this time around. My thoughts about copper and the Lincoln Cent could be askew. My thoughts could be wrong, but I'll share them with you. This one is not an RPM. Appears to not be a double die. I believe saving the bronze or brass Lincoln Cents for copper composition is a pipe dream. The reason is because all of the smelters in this country know that it is illegal to melt and separate the metals in our alloy cents. Given that that is illegal, you won't find a smelter in the country that will take pennies in lieu of money for copper, because they will not melt them. Even if they would, for the ones that would, the price of melting the copper and getting the impurities of zinc and tin out of the copper costs more than the profit you'd be making on the coins, making the process more costly than anything you would get back on the coins, which means no joy there. So, my personal opinion is that saving pennies for their copper is a waste of time. My personal opinion. Not saying I'm right, not saying you're wrong. I'm just not banking on it at all. I've got a lot of copper. I sell to a lot of people who buy for the copper. Whether they're buying because they're coins that aren't going to rot, or if they're buying because they think someday they can smelt the metal, I do not know. But I sell them at a penny and a half, 75 cents a roll, should anybody decide they want to buy them. And I will sell them by the bag, if you would like to purchase them by the bag. $75 a bag. 100 rolls in the bag. And that's what you can get them for. Next coin up. It's another one of the earlier die state coins. We didn't see anything last time we looked at one of these. Well, perhaps that could change, but I doubt it. Let's take a look here. And got nothing going on there. So we're 8 coins in so far. Haven't found any die varieties yet. Well, except for coin number 1. It was a possible doubled eyelid. We kept it out. Here's one for Joe. Joe McBride. We're going to get a normal coin now. It's coin number 9. We'll look at the reverse on the next 2. This one included. See what we come up with. Nothing, as expected. Another part of the problem with saving copper is that the profitability... Oof, this one isn't pretty. The profitability possibilities on the copper is so low that the amount that you would get over the face value of the coin, once the coin is smelted, the metals are separated and the process has begun, will probably infinitesimally be smaller than the amount you pay to store these coins, the headache and the area that it takes to store the coins. If you were to pay dollar for dollar per square foot for that area, would probably not be worth it anyway. There's a nice RPM, nice double split serif RPM on a 1957 with a die chip inside the 5, inside the upper part of the 5 in the date. This one will be easy to pick out later on. This will be the last one we're going to check the reverse on for now. And it appears to be nothing on the reverse, just as we had thought. This is coin number 11. Now number 12, Jeff Dunn. So there you have the opinion of someone who is a non-professional investor, a non-professional metallurgist, a non-professional in the industry of copper or mining copper or anything having to do with copper. I just happen to be a person who is intensely aware of what goes on with pennies and have done a little bit of research and reading into those markets. And have figured for myself and for anyone who asks me for my particular opinion about this particular endeavor, that saving pennies because they're copper is not going to go anywhere. I got some color on this one. Big old spotted colors. Pretty too. Like that. Nothing special on this one except for the color. And that goes to Taco John. Next up, bags of wheat cents are $2.60 delivered. Got them available now. They're $2.60 delivered. There's another 57D that's got some color issues. It's still pretty nice looking color, and it's got a little bit of a woody on it too, as you can see. Wow, this color. Man, there's stripes all over this one. Nice toner, woody. Must have been the roll end coin. This came out of a tube, so there's every chance that those coins could have shifted in position with each other. They already make nickels out of copper. Nickels are 75% copper as it exists. Nickels have a lot more copper than they do nickel. That one looks like it could have been a bar L there, but it's going to be too minor to really discern. We won't be listing that, so keep moving. That's for Frank. There's another nice double split serif, 1957D, with a Larry. Chip in the B. Next up, number 18, Paul Fitzgerald. Nothing going on there. Let's check the other side real quick. Do this once in a while just to see. Your chances, spiked head die crack, that it ever becomes legal to melt those in your lifetime is very, very small. Once they make a law about something like that, those laws rarely change. Even if they stop making the Lincoln cent, melting the coins for profit in copper would still be illegal. And it probably always will be. Penny hoarder. There's a minor double split lower serif. Split lower serif RPM there. Could be a very minor doubled I as well. That's for penny hoarder. Now number 21, Paul Adams. Could be a doubled I. Yeah, a very minor one though. Alright. And for Yo Man. How come that didn't? That looks weird. Oh, I see. It looked different because I had it upside down. There we go. There's one for Yo Man. And that's another one of the early die state coins that we found early on. This die is the same as that. The difference between pennies and copper pipe is a copper pipe is actually just copper. Copper pennies include zinc, tin, and other metals. So it's made to be malleable so it will strike. So it's a little softer than your typical copper. There's a nice 57D right there. Really nice RPM. You don't make copper pipe and copper coins out of the same thing. I probably can melt Canadian copper pennies here, because actually they never were illegal to melt in the United States to begin with. Just as the copper United States pennies are not illegal to melt in Canada, but getting them to Canada to smelt them and taking care of the cost of getting them there plus smelting the other metals out of them is not worth the profit. You'd have to have a dump truck full of them. And then you're talking about too much logistical expense, too much effort. That's what I'm trying to say. You can refine them. Refining the copper back to just copper would be more expensive than the coins cost you. At a penny a piece, you're not going to be able to pile up enough pure copper out of that to make a difference. One for Eric. And not an RPM. Nice big die scratches, though. I'm watching for the double dies as well. The ones we do know about. One for Kelly Ray. Copper would have to make a very large, significant surge upward in value for it to be actually worth doing anything with pennies to come up with copper. And buying copper rounds is not the answer either, because copper rounds, at the very least, if you buy them in large quantities, are going to cost you around 40, 50, 60 cents a piece, at the very least. And there's not that much value in copper in those rounds. The thing about rounds is that the price of the rounds is mostly in the effort to mint them, not in the metal itself. There's a 57D RPM. When you buy copper rounds, you're not buying the actual metal. You're buying the art on the metal, or the process of creating the piece, because the actual metal in a copper round, a 1 ounce copper round, is maybe 30 cents, 25, 30 cents worth of copper. There we go. Nice split lower serif RPM. 1957D. The whole analogy comparison of copper to silver and taking copper coins and melting them like they used to take silver coins and melt them is it doesn't equal up. It's like talking about going to Florida. Hey, look at that. There's a double eyelid, 2 extra eyelids. It's a tripled eyelid, and an RPM, minor RPM. It's much like talking about taking an apple tree to plant it in Florida because you know oranges grow there. It has there's no correlation other than the fact that they're both fruit trees. Hey, seriously, that's about how close silver and copper are related to one another. This one could be an RPM. I'm not sure, though. It's a little minor. Actually, it's way minor. Yeah. There is a lot of truth to what Mr. Boudreau is saying there. There's one for Malcolm. If there was any money to be made in melting pennies, somebody would have been doing it. There's another possible eyelid. Somebody would have been doing it to the tune of knocking copper pennies out of circulation. Well, they have been disappearing from circulation, but I think that's a lot more to attrition and misguided hoarding than anything else. Attrition is when they leave circulation just because they're old, because they're worn out, because they are beyond their prime time. I have no idea what that is. Thing on the inside of the E. I haven't ever seen that. That is a very different and unusual looking thing. Looks like it could be with bits of die chip. Very unusual looking. I've not seen that before. It's not a double die, but I don't know what it is. Very different looking. Let's see if we run into another one of those in here. Next one is for Eric. Nothing going on there. Number 37 for Stephen A. Nothing going on there. Number 38 now, Paul Fitzgerald. Well, we found a lot of decent goodies in this roll so far, so I'm not too worried about it being a busted roll. It is not an original roll, it doesn't appear. Some of the coins in here are not great. A lot of them have been pretty nice. That's counting wheel issues there. It's where the rubber wheel and the counting machine sat on top of this coin, spinning on top of this coin while they were dressing the next roll, getting it ready to put coins into. So this just sat there while the wheel spun on top of it. Okay, this one is a double split serif RPM, doubled upper and lower. It's relatively nice. That's right, burning rubber. That's what that was. Number 41, Malcolm. Nothing on this one, unfortunately. Number 42, Taco John. What do we got for Taco John? Well, unfortunately, another nothing. Number 43, JJ Addict. There's a beginning of a bi error. It's where the area between the B and the E chips out, making it look like the letters B-I-E together, so they call it a bi error, or a bi die chip. Next up, number 44, Paul Fitzgerald again. Oh, what do we have here? Minor split upper and lower serifs on this one. Minor split upper and lower serifs, RPM. And a double die. This one is a double die. You can see it on the upper edge of the ERTY. This line right here, as well as this, and then there's a line that goes along here and here. That's all part of a double die. So this is a double die. Not sure which one. The RPM that's on here is a rather minor one, but it shows mostly right there in the lower serif. Shows a little on the upper serif too. But you can see a cut right there. So this is our first real double die for the roll. You can see the doubling there again on top of the T, on the side of the T. Here's around the top of the R, around the top of the Y. That's a double die. Pretty well known for 1957D, however not for any other issue. Exactly how and why that came to be, I don't know. But it is. Here, Mr. McBride. I've got to back up a little bit so we can see what we're looking at here. Okay, no RPM. Nothing on the I. There's another one that's a beginning to the bi. So this one could be the same die as the one we saw earlier. Here's number 46 now. JJ Addict. Coin number 46 is... yeah, it's going to be a normal one. You're old. You're trying to keep up with me. I'm just showing you the parts that are interesting when I see them. If there's nothing there, then I don't even bother sticking around. I just keep moving until I find something that's of interest. That is a die scratch going through the mint mark there. That is not an RPM in the middle. So all of this is related. From here all the way up through here and there, that's all related. Just a scratch on the die. And nothing else going on there. What are we talking about, Malcolm? There's a 57D normal. Looks like a normal coin, yep. That's number 48. Got two left in the roll. This is the first of those two. Number 49 is going to go to Mr. Adams. And Mr. Adams will pick up a non-RPM. It's not a doubled I. And it is not a double die in Liberty. So it's another normal coin there. And number 50 to DN. And this one also turns out to be normal. Tell you what, folks, I think I'm spent for the evening. I'll be back Sunday morning at noon Eastern to go through our final 4 rolls, at least 2 of the 4 on Sunday. And then we would get the other 2 on Monday, and then we would have new rolls come up on Tuesday. I appreciate you guys dropping by for a visit, having fun with me, and going through another roll of Lincoln Cents with me. I guess if we have the opportunity to talk on Sunday, we will. However, if we don't, I hope to see you at Sunday's brief auction or on Tuesday's auction, where we're going to have a boatload of fun. Tuesday's auction is going to be a hoot. I'm just going to keep adding stuff to the lots. Every lot, I'll just keep adding stuff to the lots until we get even up bidding amount to value. You guys bid more, I have to add something else. You guys bid more, I have to add something else. You stop bidding, I stop adding. That's kind of how that's going to work. We're going to do that on Tuesday evening. Sunday we're going to have a few better singles for auction. I will see you guys Sunday for the reveals and for the auction, or Tuesday for the auction. Either way, you guys have a great week, a great weekend, and I'll talk to you later.